Now we'll talk about some of the threats and the ethical issues. So, as you can imagine and probably heard, a lot of the risk of misinformation. So, uh, as it has mentioned, that OpenAI does not know how ChatGPT comes up with the answers that it has. A lot of times it is right, but sometimes it just makes something up. And these are models that are designed just to make you happy and please you. It wants to give you an answer. So it's going to give you an answer even if it has no idea. And it's just going to give you an answer based on predictions in data. I'm sure many of you have heard of the headline about the lawyer who the legal team was using ChatGPT to prepare for court and was getting information from it. And ChatGPT hallucinated. So that means it just made up, it kind of BS's you in a way. It made up a court case and they used that in their case and they were called out on it and fined and in trouble. It was a completely made up case. So there's going to be misinformation. You always want to fact check if you're using an LLM. AI bias. Now, I want to preface this with AIs don't actually have thoughts and feelings now, anyway. But since they're trained on the internet, which is not the world's most friendliest educational facility, they're going to perpetuate biases present in the data that they're trained on. Back in 2018, I think it was, Amazon tossed their recruitment AI software because it didn't like women. It would get rid of resumes and applications with what it interpreted it as female names. And that doesn't mean it itself was biased against women, but whomever developed it obviously was. There's the copyright concerns too. So who actually owns the information generated by LLMs? That is still for courts to decide. And the information that they create, it's coming from other information on the internet, even if it's not necessarily making it up. Some information that they're regurgitating is not blatant plagiarism. However, it is still somebody somewhere, someone else's intellectual property out there. There are also privacy concerns and data sovereignty issues based on all the LLMs that are coming out. When you type something in, where does it go? This is why I always recommend don't give it personal information, don't give it corporate trade secrets. And this is also why we have people taking such a hard turn against AI and saying nobody at work is allowed to use AI because our privacy is compromised. So that's a concern. And we really need to educate people on the privacy issues and have them use it with caution. Still use it, but just use it with caution. There are environmental concerns too. So I have to check a fact here, but the New Yorker estimated that ChatGPT is consuming more than 500,000 kilowatt hours of electricity per day. So that's quite a bit. And I've seen headlines recently too that ChatGPT, Google, a lot of the larger companies that are developing LLMs and fine-tuning them are looking at using nuclear power to just cut down on the electricity that they're using. Again, that could be a controversial issue as well. There's the power allocation to the companies that are creating these. The big tech puts lots and lots of money into lobbying. Are they really developing these with an ethical mindset for all of humanity? Or are they developing these and making just tons of money? So you do have to think about the power allocation here. There's ethics around training of the LLMs too, which I read not too long ago that when they're originally training the LLMs, it had to be humans that were asking it questions and then saying, no, that's a good answer, that's a bad answer. But again, remember the LLM doesn't have feelings. So it's before they released it, they had to make sure it wasn't going to give terrible advice or say terrible things. So it was humans that had to sit there and train it not to, suggest how to murder someone and get away with it, or not to generate any hate speech. And this really took a toll on people day in and day out, training these large language models on how to just not be evil.